Hi fellow crafters. Today I have another beautiful scenic card idea to demonstrate, one that has a corner tuck technique. I will be using my Tulip Fields bundle and some leftover pieces of my Flowering Fields Designer Series paper. I can't wait to show you this easy card idea. Hey everyone, I'm Terri from nutsAboutStamping.com. I love sharing techniques and project ideas for rubber stamping, paper crafting, and scrapbooking with you each week. Be sure to hit that red subscribe button and the bell beside it so that you'll be the first to be notified when my next video goes live. If you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator yet, I would love for you to choose me. I'll link to my online stores in the description box under this video. Be sure to watch all the way through my video for my bonus tips and design ideas. Now, let's get started. The Tulip Fields stamp set includes section stamps that you can put together to create a flower field. And then when you pair it with the windmill, clouds, or tree stamps, you can make a really fun field of tulip scene, which is what we're going to do today. The Windmill Fields dies gives you everything you need to add to that picturesque scene, including a row of tulips, which we're going to use today, fences, a bicycle, and pieces to create a layered windmill that's a little bit larger than the one I'm going to use. And what can I say about the Flowering Fields Designer Series paper other than, wow, absolutely gorgeous. There are so many uses for this paper. Keep in mind that when the mini catalog retires, this paper will be gone forever. So now is the time to stock up along with the coordinating colors. You really won't be disappointed in the cards that you create using this pack of paper. I'm going to start off with a piece of basic white cardstock that I'm going to use to create my scene that is eventually going to go on the front of my card. I'm going to bring in a scrap piece of grid paper, one that I use for all sorts of coloring on and coloring off. I'm going to bring in my balmy blue ink pad and a blending brush. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create sort of a colored sky kind of background for my scene that I'm going to create with the dies. There we go. Now the next thing I'm going to do is bring in my crumb cake and another one of my blending brushes, and I'm going to create more of an earthy kind of color on the bottom piece, or the bottom of this basic white piece, so that we have earth and sky that blend together. And there we go. Now I'm going to set that aside. And I'm going to bring in another piece of basic white cardstock. And I have the small windmill stamp from the Tulip Fields stamp set. And I am going to use early espresso to ink it up and stamp it down. And then I'm going to die cut it out using the corresponding dies. I'm going to put it down towards the bottom. You'll see why in a second. And I will just head over to my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. There's the matching die, and I'll die cut that out. I'll show you what it looks like in a second. There we go. My windmill is all ready to add to my layer. Now I still have a little bit of real estate on this basic white piece of cardstock, and I have these two dies that are clouds dies. I'm going to die cut those out to add to the scene that I'm slowly starting to build. Back in a moment. There we go. The scene is starting to take shape, but next what I want to do is use this die. It's a funny looking little die, but basically what it creates are rows of tulips. So I'm going to do that out of a piece of pumpkin pie cardstock and a piece of Poppy Parade cardstock. So I only have one of these dies, and I want to create two of the pumpkin pie and two of the Poppy Parade. Now, this die is really intricate in that it only is going to die cut the outline of the tulips. You can see all the little holes in it. So what I've done is I've used a piece of our adhesive sheets, and I've attached an adhesive sheet strip to the back of each of these two colors so that when I die cut this out, I can just peel off the adhesive and it creates a sticker that helps me apply the tulips to my scene that I'm creating without a lot of gluey, sticky mess. So I'll show you what that looks like. I'm going to stop the video. I'm going to die cut 2 of these and 2 of these, and then I'll be back and we'll create this beautiful scene layer for the front of this corner tuck card. There we go. I have the 4 rows of tulips ready. Now let's apply them to the layer that we're creating with this tulip scene. So I can just easily peel off the backing to that adhesive, and let's go alternate. So I'm going to do Poppy Parade and then Pumpkin Pie, and then Poppy Parade and Pumpkin Pie. There we go, looking kind of cute. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in this windmill, and I'm going to take a Stampin' Dimensional. Maybe I'll use 2 of them, the larger ones. I'm not going to put anything on the sails of the windmill because I want them to sort of stand out, not be glued down. And I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to put the windmill right in the field of tulips, which of course you would never see in real life, but that doesn't matter. And then I'm going to use some mini Stampin' Dimensionals to attach the clouds. Again, to give them a little bit of lift and visual interest on the front of this layer. And there we go. It's really fun. I love this bundle, which is another thing I need to remind you of, is that when the mini catalog retires, there's no guarantee that this will carry over to the next annual catalog. So if you love this bundle, now is the time to get it so that you're not disappointed when it retires, if it retires. I'm going to attach this layer to a layer of pumpkin pie to color coordinate everything using my Stampin' Seal. And then it is time now to create our fold. It's actually a fun fold with the corner tuck. To create my card base, I have a piece of So Saffron cardstock, and I'm going to do 1 simple score line on it. I'm going to lay it the long way, and I'm going to score it at 5.5. That's all I need my Simply Scored for. So let me move that out of the way. And then I'm going to fold this, and I don't see my bone folder. If I had my bone folder, I would burnish it. You should see my crafting table. Maybe you shouldn't. Now, to this, on the front of the fold, I have a piece of the Flowering Fields Designer Series paper. You can see that it's starting to color coordinate, which is the plan for this card. Okay, so let me put that down like so. Now the next thing I want to do is bring in some of my Pale Papaya ribbon. This is an open weave ribbon, and although I'm not using Pale Papaya as one of the colors on my card, it is so pale, no pun intended, that I'm going to add a piece of ribbon around and tie it in a knot, and that'll add a little bit of visual interest on the front of my card. So let me stop the video, tie the knot, I'll come back, and then we'll move on to the next step in creating this card. There we go. You can see that I have slid the ribbon over a little bit to the left of this flap, and that is because I want to attach my scene that I've created to this flap, and I don't want any of it covered up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this over. I'm going to bring in some tear and tape adhesive, and I'm going to put a couple of strips of tear and tape. I'm using tear and tape because I want it to be a stronger, I guess, I want it to be really a strong layer that's attached, or a stronger adhesive, my goodness. And I'm going to lay this like so. Get it straight. Okay, there we go. Now let's bring in another piece of the Flowering Fields Designer Series paper. I've cut it in a square, and what I want to do is take this square and I want to cut it in half diagonally. So I'm going to line up the point in the cutting tray and the other point in the bottom, so get it nice and lined up. I'm going to close the arm and I'm going to cut it so that I have a triangle. I'm not going to use this triangle. I'm going to use this one only. And when I stopped the video, I created a layer for this triangle out of pumpkin pie. I just wanted this designer series paper to be nice and strong and firm, and by putting it on another layer underneath, it will do what I'm trying to accomplish, and I'll show you why in a second. So I'm going to take my multi-purpose liquid glue and I'm going to adhere this piece onto the pumpkin pie layer. Okay, I've got that done, and I'm going to set it aside to dry for a few minutes. And I'm going to bring in another piece of basic white cardstock. And from the Color and Contour stamp set, I have this stamp that says, "You're absolutely amazing," which I think can be used for many different occasions: birthday, congratulations, friendship. I have my pumpkin pie ink, and I'm going to ink this up and stamp it down in the center, like so. Now, I want to adhere this layer on the inside of my card so that it is hidden from sight. So what I'm going to do is turn it over, and I'm going to put some Stampin' Seal on the back. And what I'm going to do is flip this over like so, and then I'm going to use that as a guide to help me close up this card so that it'll remain hidden. So here's a good way to do it, and that is the reverse of what you would think. Adhere that down, flip it over, and look at that. It's completely hidden from view. Now, you're probably wondering, what about this piece here? Well, that's the final piece that we're going to adhere to finish off this card. So what I'm going to do is turn this triangle over, and I do not want to attach or adhere it down flat. So I'm going to use some mini Stampin' Dimensionals and put one of them as close to the corner as I can of this layer, like so. Then I'm going to peel off the tails of the dimensionals. And then with this closed, I am going to adhere my flap down like so that when the person gets this card, they will just open it up and then see the message that I'll be writing inside, and then they can close it by simply tucking this front layer in like so. Isn't that just awesome? Now, at this point, you can add additional embellishments, you can add some different kinds of stamps, or you can add to the phrase by using another die, whatever you want, because this is your card that you're going to make at home that will express your artistic talents. Look at that. That's kind of cute with the cloud tucked on the outside of the flap, or I can tuck it inside. If you would like a complete listing of what I used to make this corner tuck card idea, I will link to a blog post in the description box below. I always, when I do a video, I create a corresponding post for my blog where I list all of the measurements, the ordering numbers, and so on. I'll also link to my online stores in the description box under this video so that you can purchase the Tulip Fields bundle before it may retire when the mini catalog comes to an end. If you would like to see another Flowering Fields card idea, why not watch this video next? I'm Terry. I'm nuts about stamping. I would love to hear what you would like to see me feature next. Why not leave me a comment underneath the description box that goes along with this video. I'm Terry. I'm nuts about stamping. I hope you'll try this corner tuck card idea someday soon. Bye for now.